Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz on November 27, 2015, 3:10 a.m. Birmingham. Topic, Four Corners section. This is Native American that I'm talking about, and most of what I'm saying here is happening to these people, and it's not new. It's just now coming to surface because when one will speak up, and then a little later someone else may speak up, and then later someone else may speak up. Well, let me tell you, the first time I've heard this personally, my wife passed away in 99. And then in 2000, I took both of my daughters on the same trips that my wife and I would drive on. We leave Birmingham, where we're from, south of Birmingham, and a neat tour. You can follow this, and we would drive I-20 until we came to the Natchez Trace Parkway. This is an old stagecoach route that went from the north to the south. It crossed Memphis and from further up and all the way down to Natchez, Mississippi. We'd follow that route, Mississippi. We'd hang out there a little while. Then we'd get on and take off and drive I-10 all the way down San Antonio and split off I-10 and go straight toward the Eagle Pass, Texas. Cross into Mexico, drive 60 miles through Mexico, and come out at Del Rio. And then we're on that last highway, the southernmost highway, or two-lane road, until you get to, anyway, we drive this road and Highway 90 all the way through all these tiny towns, and one of them I'm going to specifically name, and you'll know why in a moment. But then when we get to Marfa, Marfa, Texas, then starts the Big Bend Park on the left, which extends another 100 or so miles, maybe more, 200. And we've been down that end. But anyway, let's come on. Marfa, Texas, by the way, look it up. There's a mystery there. It's been going on for over 100 years. And I've seen this. I've carried my daughters through there twice. My wife and I went through there a couple of times, 3 or 4 times. We saw this with our eyes. In night, there's lights flying around in the desert out there. No one explains this mystery Marfa lights. Anyway, from there, we'd go on, and our first trip out, we went through the Valley of Fire. This is a volcano had erupted, and there's 125 miles of lava. I think that's the length, and about 2 or 3 miles across. We crossed it, went on in, and we ended up in what's that main town just outside of Flagstaff, there, Arizona. And then from there, we would go on down to the Grand Canyon. We'd leave the Grand Canyon and go through the Four Corners. Leave the Four Corners and go to Colorado. I'm trying to think of the town there. I don't know why I'm drawing all these blanks. And then we'd take that town up, taking Highway 550 up the mountain to Silverton, Colorado. Little gold mining town in the mountains out of Durango, Colorado. And we'd always stay there for a couple of nights. The last time I went with my daughter that I brought with me, she went on a mission trip, and she went to the Hopi tribe out there, I think, and helped teach and to on a mission trip. She did a couple of them, I think, and she fell in love with the Native Americans. We ourselves are Cherokee, and anyway, coming on one of the last trips that we went on, we stopped in the Hopi Nation there, and 2 or 3 things happened, really out of the ordinary. And I didn't think much of it. My daughter freaked out, said, "Don't touch it, don't do this, don't pick it up." Well, we're sitting there, and I find a marble on the ground near a cemetery, like right by a cemetery. I didn't pluck it up out of it. It was laying there. But then as we leave, a crow feather falls on the front of my car. I mean, we just started accelerating, and she said, "Don't touch it." And I got out and I got it. I put it in the car, and we went on to Silverton. Now, all this happened near the Four Corners. Got on to Silverton, and she ran into a lady that she connected with, and they ended up talking stuff I never understood. But the lady was telling her about what she could have done by taking that crow feather. And I still don't know the implications, but nothing ever happened. But the lady also said that her son, her daughter, had seen an owl in a certain place at a certain time, and that is somehow built into their belief system. And the things that she should have done to avoid a future reference back to seeing that owl, she didn't do. As a result, she was in 3 accidents over a time period. One of them put her in a hospital, and they all blame it back on her seeing that owl. Now here we go. The same place, the same area, the carvings on the rocks, the one that shows the giants, the 6-finger giants, 6-toed, all that's there. The hieroglyphics or glyphics or whatever they are. My daughter took hundreds of pictures and sketchings and so forth. And inside this showed winged beings, showed 9 to 12 foot tall beings, all these things. After inquiring about it through this lady in Silverton, Colorado, that owned her own little shop that was open only 4 months out of the year, talked about something that attacked, of one of those accidents, her daughter. And it was like a man bat. That's all I can say. Then later, another lady describes a man bat in the daylight, flies right over her. And she took it as a warning to make a U-turn and leave. And she is Hopi Indian, Hopi tribe. Well, this, now keep in mind, was 2001 or 2002 at this time. No, 2001. And I've been back a few times, but I haven't been back since 2008. You know, that's when the hard times hit, and I still hadn't been back. But I've been 12 times. Anyway, hearing and listening to the tales that all of a sudden that's coming from people, it's unbelievable. My name is Wolf, by the way, and there is a werewolf they truly believe in. They're shapeshifters, and they claim that certain people that want that ability can easily get it. And I didn't go to any details or listen to enough on how they wanted to get it or why they wanted to get it, but they do have that ability. And it's usually because they're oppressed by their own people. And then they get upset of it and won't upset about it, then they want to get even or get back at them or simply leave me alone. You've done enough damage to me. These are the people that are turning into these things, and they can do it at will. But there's been a lot of them, in the last week. I've heard of so many people are now coming forward and talking about it. And it is, all I can say is crazy. They're being creatures. They're not UFOs. They're being creatures. They're humanoid type creatures. They're a man with a wolf face, and some of them a wolf body with a man's face. There's a bat with a man face, wings and all, flies and everything, and numerous others. Finally, people are speaking up, talking about it. I mean, just wide open. And that surprises me. I always thought they kept that under the wraps. I knew of it back in 2001, but I didn't hear about it much at all until 2 years ago. But the last 3 months, it's like an everyday somewhere. This isn't just the Hopi Nation. This stretches across the entire Native American West from Mexico all the way into the southern parts of Canada. It's how big it is, and these things are just manifesting. And in the end times, I think these are biblical, all of them. So maybe we're seeing what has already been talked about and what has been warned about and what prophecies have mentioned about. So maybe we're seeing the beginning of a whole lot more Bigfoots than I've ever heard in my life. They're just coming out of the woodwork, but yet nobody has one, Had to tell my story. Jody Wolf, Expoz.